And the award goes to Tax Matters.
On behalf of the 14th President, the Council, and all members of this noble profession, I hereby present this special award to Tax Matters in recognition and appreciation of your dedicated service to consistent tax reporting in Nigeria. The 14th President, you have standing before you in this hall and some on the social media a total number of 565 inductees. In accordance with the CITN Act, Cap C10, Volume 2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, I hereby recommend that they should be admitted as associate members of the Institute.
I do solemnly swear that I shall always comply with the provisions of the Institute's charter. So help me God.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. I am Chiamaka Ohawuchi. We begin with news from the world of taxation in Nigeria. Finance Bill 2020 passes second reading at the National Assembly. CITN admits new members. Tax Matters wins yet another award. And from Revenue House Abuja, FIRS reaffirms deadline for waiver of penalties and interest on tax liabilities. The management of the FIRS has issued a public notice on the recovery of outstanding taxes from taxpayers. In the public notice, the service recorded that it had in the very recent past issued a series of palliatives for the waiver of penalties and interest on outstanding taxes arising from tax examination, audit exercises, investigations, or all other forms of tax assessment. The service has, however, observed that some taxpayers are yet to take advantage of the palliative window open to cushion the effects of the challenges of the economy on taxpayers. The public notice has consequently reiterated that the waiver of penalties and interest only exists up to 31st of December 2020. Therefore, all concerned taxpayers have been put on notice that after the expiration of the palliative window on the 31st of December 2020, the service shall take steps to recover all outstanding debts with accrued penalties and interest. We recall that in the wake of the lockdown imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the FIRS magnanimously extended the 30th day of June deadline for company income tax filers with accounting year of January to December to August 31st with full waiver of penalties and interest. We recall also that the FIRS allowed filers of VAT and withholding tax returns statutorily due on the 21st day of the month to the 30th day, again without penalties and interest. As the end of August drew near, the FIRS again, in a surprise move, extended the palliatives to 31st of December 2020. Again, as a further show of empathy with business owners, on November 4, 2020, the FIRS issued a fresh set of palliatives to alleviate the pains of business owners who suffered disruptions in the wake of the EndSARS protests. One major aspect of the palliatives running through the different exercises is a palliative for taxpayers who are facing challenges in sourcing for forex to offset their foreign currency denominated tax liabilities. The FIRS magnanimously gave them the option of paying in Naira at the prevailing investors and exporters forex window rate on the day of payment. We do think that the FIRS deserves to be commended, and in the spirit of one good turn deserving another, concerned taxpayers should do the needful before the deadline. Still in the news, President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted the Finance Bill 2020 to the National Assembly for consideration and passage along with the 2021 Appropriation Bill presently before the Parliament. According to the President, the Finance Bill 2020 seeks to support the implementation of the 2021 budget by proposing key reforms to be specific: taxation, customs, excise, fiscal, and other laws. The bill has since passed second reading at the Senate. We do expect that very soon the National Assembly will call for public hearing and public input. And you can be sure that tax matters will stay on top of the story.
Do you provide goods and services? Then you must answer these important questions. Are you registered for VAT? Do you charge VAT on the goods and services you provide? Do you keep records of all your transactions? Do you file VAT returns? Do you remit VAT collected to government coffers? If your answer to any of these questions is no, then you are breaking the law. The law demands total compliance. Therefore, you must register for VAT. You must charge VAT on goods and services. You must file VAT returns. And you must remit all VAT collected on behalf of government within 21 days to the bank nearest to you. To do otherwise is a crime punishable everywhere in the world. VAT is prescribed by the law. Do the right thing. Collect and pay VAT. This message is from the FIRS. It pays to pay your tax.
Welcome to Tax Law Clinic. Today, we will serve you the second part of our focus on personal income tax, which incidentally is on the second leg of personal income tax, that is, direct assessment. Under the Personal Income Tax Act, sole proprietorship, otherwise known as one-man business, professional partnerships, trusts, and other unincorporated entities which have identifiable place of operation in Nigeria are brought to tax under the Personal Income Tax Act. The personal income tax so determined will be payable to the relevant state tax authority where the individuals, partnerships, trusts, or other unincorporated entities are resident. Unlike under pay-as-you-earn, where tax is deducted monthly from the emoluments of employees, businesses charged to tax under direct assessment are brought to tax on preceding year basis, as it is done for incorporated companies under CITN. In other words, under direct assessment, business activities, purchases, sales, income, expenditure of such bodies carried out in 2020 are charged to tax by March 31st, 2021. After taking into consideration allowable expenses, for example, sums spent on purchases, on vehicles, on rent, on personal emoluments, and all other expenses, the business is charged to tax in much the same way as is done under payee, as in the table on your screen. Let us re-emphasize here that the Personal Income Tax Act, PITA, is a federal legislation with uniform implementation across the country. So, what applies in Bayelsa applies in Katsina. What applies in Ekiti applies in Ebonyi. Next episode, we will be featuring an interview with a state IRS executive on the practical workings of the system. But remember that if you fall under this category, your tax is due latest by the 31st of March 2021. Thank you for staying with us. On assumption of duty, Mr. Muhammad Nami unveiled the 4 cardinal pillars of his administration, one of which is robust collaboration with stakeholders, and he has continued to walk the talk. On Thursday, the 26th of November 2020, the FIRS Committee of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RAFFAC, called at Revenue House, Abuja. The committee is the committee charged with oversight functions over the FIRS. The delegation was led by its chairman, Mr. Samuel Arda Mabwe.
So why we're here today is to explore ways and means by which the two organizations can work together. We're all working towards the same goal for the same country. All we're doing is to boost the federation account so that the development can go on.
The executive chairman FIRS seized the occasion to reel out the achievements of the current board of the FIRS under his leadership while restating the FIRS mandate.
This year alone, we've done 4 board meetings at the FIRS, and I was told the first one we had in March was the first after 8 years. So if we have done 4 this year alone, I think we've done something extraordinary. We didn't stop that. We have done 3 emergency board meetings already.
Going further, Mr. Nami called for cooperation between RAMFAC and the FIRS.
We have listened to you. Nobody can doubt or challenge the statutory responsibility of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
Revenue House also played host to a delegation from the Nigerian Stock Exchange led by the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Oscar Onyema. Mr. Onyema commended the FIRS for the good job being done by the service and for the support that the Stock Exchange is receiving from the FIRS. The Stock Exchange came with a shopping list.
I really want to touch upon 3 key items. The administration of the stamp duty on capital market transactions, collaboration and information sharing with the FIRS, and give you an update on our demutualization process, which you have been very supportive of. The attention of the exchange was drawn to a public notice of Monday, 20th of July 2020, captioned Clarification of Administration of Stamp Duties in Nigeria, issued by the FIRS. The public notice provided, amongst other things, information on dutiable instruments and the applicable flat or ad valorem rates, with contract notes itemized as an ad valorem rate of 0.08%. This is at variance with the current rate of 0.075% being administered in the Nigerian capital market. In light of the above, the exchange engaged the representatives of the Association of Securities Dealing Houses of Nigeria and the Central Securities Clearing System on the implementation of the applicable rates. The exchange has also engaged the Securities and Exchange Commission. An implementation plan was developed, which includes system adjustments and the sensitization of investors, with a date of 7th of December 2020 collectively agreed as the effective date to administer the applicable stamp duty rates of 0.08%. It should also be noted that stamp duty on contract notes are ultimately borne by investors, but deducted at source by the CSCS PLC. Therefore, neither the exchange, CSCS, nor dealing members should be held liable for the legacy issues. I should note that these legacy issues, these rates have been applied for so long. I'm not sure the exact length of time, but in terms of years, probably close to 10 years. So that publication really drew our attention to that slight discrepancy, and then we started engaging with the industry to see how we can make the adjustment. The exchange respectfully requests from the FIRS to accommodate the effective date of 7th of December 2020, collectively agreed by capital market stakeholders as the effective date to administer the applicable stamp duty rate of 0.08%. So we crave your indulgence and your understanding as we make this adjustment and begin to deduct the right rate of 0.08% starting from 7th of December. The second point that I wanted to discuss today is, we've received a request for collaboration and information sharing with the FIRS, and I want to assure you that our team is already working with your team on this collaboration. So any way we can support, within our capabilities and within our powers, we would be happy to do that. The third and final point is just to give you an update on demutualization. Let me just refresh on your memory. The exchange started the demutualization journey about 19 years ago, but this most recent effort started in 2015. Demutualization is a process where you change from being an entity that is limited by guarantee to an entity that is limited by shares. And there are a number of benefits for the country and the capital market. Today, as a company that is limited by guarantee, for example, the exchange does not pay taxes. But post-demutualization, for example, we'll start paying taxes. So the update really is that we had our last AGM as a mutual entity on the 18th of November 2020. We've submitted all the final documentations with the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission. The SEC is currently reviewing those applications, and we expect SEC approval in principle sometime this year, at which point we would register the shares and begin to allot those shares to the members. At this recently held AGM, the members also approved for the exchange group, the restructured entity, to list those shares on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, on the new exchange entity. So as the company progresses in a for-profit manner, it is aware that it has to pay taxes, and we've already engaged our tax advisors, and we're working with them to make sure that we're in full compliance of all the taxes that are due.
In his response, the Executive Chairman FIRS allayed the fears of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, assuring them of the empathy of the service while reiterating that stamp duty was not a new tax type. The chargeable instruments are not new and the rates are not new.
The basis of the rate of 0.08% on contract notes for the sale and purchase of stock or marketable security is in line with Section 49, 50 and 51 Stamp Duties Act and Schedule on Contract Note. For those of you that are taxmen, and for the benefit of the essay, you get FRS compendium. You go specifically to page 627. Page 627. So the 0.7 point you'll be paying before, we are not going to say, because of the difficulty people are facing now, that we should go and reopen the case. But what we put in that publication has been in law for years. So if you just check that particular page, you discover that it has been there. It was not recently reviewed, downward or upward. So that's just a little clarification we want to do on that.
This kind of nonsense has to end today. Why would the bank be removing somebody's money every time like that?
Mr. John!
My neighbor!
Yes, sir. Why are you rushing to like this?
Can you imagine? I just sent money to my son, and I got a debit alert of 15 naira from my bank as stamp duty. I am going to seek explanation from my bank because I made a transfer, not post a letter.
Mr. John, let me explain what stamp duty is. Stamp duty is not all about postage stamp matters. The 15 naira is a stamp duty levy charged by banks on customers who make transfers of 10,000 naira and above from one bank account to another bank account.
And why should I pay stamp duty for my hard-earned money?
Mr. John, paying stamp duty levy is a civic duty for every patriotic citizen. The taxes we all pay are collected and used by the government to pay salaries and provide basic amenities for citizens. It's even easier to make stamp duty payments now. All you need to do as a taxpayer is to log on to the following: www.stampduty.gov.ng or www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-stamping. By the way, Mr. John, it pays to pay your tax, you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, my daughter.
You're welcome,
My
sir.
regards to your family.
All right, sir.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
We are coasting home as we leave you with sights and sounds from the CITN 2020 annual dinner, at which your darling program, Tax Matters, won the CITN Merit Award in the media category.
Please, let's put our hands together for Yobe State Government for the state-owned award. To represent the Executive Chairman of LIRS, we have Mr. Bayo Alani to receive the award on his behalf. For the individual category, let me invite Mr. Abiodun Adediran Olatunji, SAN, ACTI, the Chairman, World Lily Event, please, Ibadan. The next award is to His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, ACTI, the Minister for Power and Works. To receive this award on his behalf is Mrs. Olayemi Ajiboye. The next award is to an outstanding service to the taxation profession, and the award is going to Dr. Mark Abani, FCTI. Permit me to invite Nike Bukbola to represent Punch newspaper.
And congratulations, the Punch, for this award.
Let me just say a word or two about this gentleman here. When he started 20 years ago, the road was rough, but he plodded on. And that is the hallmark of achievers. Thank you very much for bringing taxation to the doorstep of everybody every week, and you mature every day. You do it better every day. Thank you very much.
I am down and oh my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence.
This is the 5th time the CITN has honored Tax Matters, which has been a partner of the Institute for 2 decades. we dedicate this award to our sponsor, the Federal Inland Revenue Service. More on the CITN induction, the annual dinner and award ceremony will come to you in subsequent episodes of Tax Matters. We thank you for watching, and remember, as the year draws to a close and as we crisscross the length and breadth of the country, always fasten your seatbelt, and if you must drink, drink water. We need you alive to pay your taxes. Bye for now.